Good morning, Detective Belknap.
Morning, sir.
We've met Max Schardt. I represent Mr. Stillwell. So, I first want to ask you about the search of Jeffrey Williams' address at 355 Allison Drive on May 9th, 2022. You were present for that search, correct?
I was.
You were one of the officers executing the search.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you didn't write a report about the execution of that search warrant, did you?
I did not.
Okay. Investigator Storno wrote a report, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and I have asked you to review photos taken during the execution of that search warrant, and I've also asked you to review Investigator Storno's notes, or report, correct?
That's correct.
And you were kind enough to do that for me, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, excellent. And Mr. Atkins, if I could have your help displaying any images as Detective Belknap speaks about things, I'd appreciate it. On May 9th, 2022, do you recall who was present at 355 Allison Drive when you executed the search warrant?
Could you be more specific?
Okay, Jeffrey Williams was present, correct?
Yes, sir.
Martinez Arnold was present.
Yes, sir.
Diamante Kendrick was present.
Yes, sir.
Jeffrey Williams' teenage son was present, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. My client, Shannon Stillwell, was not present at 355 Allison Drive on May 9th, 2022, was he?
He was not.
Okay. And you don't have any evidence at all that Mr. Stillwell has ever even been to that residence, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. And during that search warrant was sought out by Investigator Viverito, is that correct?
I believe so.
Okay. And during that search warrant, executing that search warrant on May 9th, 2022, you all collected drugs, correct? Suspected drugs?
We did.
Delta 8 syrup as well?
Yes.
Okay. Jewelry?
Yes.
Money?
Yes.
Phones?
Yes.
Mr. Williams' cars were seized?
That's correct.
And I'm not going to ask any questions about any of those things, but you also collected guns, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In fact, there were 6 guns collected, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And you have reviewed pictures taken during the execution of that search warrant, correct?
I did.
Okay. I would like to just talk about each gun individually. I can go in whatever order you have. If you could just tell us, do you have photos in front of you that display the different types of guns and the different guns that were collected on May 9th, 2022?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Could you just tell us the exhibit number of the first gun so Mr. Atkins can display it for the jury?
The first one I'm looking at is 57XX.
Okay. And that gun, from the pictures, can you tell us what type of gun, the manufacturer, anything that you can tell about that gun?
It appears to be a Glock semi-automatic handgun.
Glock semi-automatic handgun. Okay. And do you have any other pictures in that sequence that reveal a serial number for that gun?
I believe so. The next one is 58XX.
Mr. Atkins, if you could display 58XX. Okay, and is the serial number BKMN536?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. What is the second gun that was collected?
The next one is 30XX.
You did say 30XX, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there a close-up of that gun that would help describe what type of gun it is?
I believe it's 31XX.
Okay, 31XX. And what kind of gun is that?
It's another Glock semi-automatic handgun.
Okay. Can you tell what type of projectiles or what caliber projectiles that gun fires?
It's a little difficult to tell from this picture, but from the picture alone.
Okay. Now, neither of these first 2 guns were the switch, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Could you tell us what, about the next gun, what number we should display?
Oh, sir, I apologize. There's actually another photo, I believe, of that gun we were just looking at, 32XX.
All right. Mr. Atkins, if you could display 32XX. All right, thank you. And for that second gun, that's the serial number,
I believe it is, yes.
and it's BNU 633.
Yes, sir.
All right. How about the third gun?
The third is 21XX.
And what can you tell us about this gun as far as the caliber or the manufacturer or anything?
It's another semi-automatic handgun, and it appears to be a Smith & Wesson, although I can't read it on the photograph.
Okay. And is that a switch?
No, sir.
Okay. And is that the serial number? 22XX?
22XX. Yes, sir.
All right. Great. Thank you. How about the fourth gun?
The fourth is 19XX.
Okay. And what can you tell us about this gun?
And this appears to be a tan Glock semi-automatic handgun.
Okay. Is that a switch?
Does not appear to be.
The fifth gun?
That would be 15XX.
Okay. What can you tell us about this gun? Is there another picture associated with that gun?
14XX and 15XX.
14XX. Let's go with that. What can you tell us about this gun?
This other semi-automatic handgun also appears to be a Smith & Wesson.
Okay. And how about the sixth gun?
This is 51, 52, and 53XX.
Now that gun, what can you tell us about that gun?
This is another Glock semi-automatic handgun, and it does appear to have a conversion switch attached to the weapon.
Okay, that is the switch.
Yes, sir.
All right, excellent. And those are the 6 guns that were collected from Jeffrey Williams' residence on May 9, 2022.
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Atkins. Okay, I just want to clear something up. And I'm speaking about, I'm not going to go in through individually. I'm talking about all 6 firearms. Okay. Do you have any evidence that Mr. Stillwell has ever touched any of these firearms?
I do not.
Okay. Do you have any evidence that ballistically, any of these firearms were ever used in the Shamal Drinks homicide?
I didn't conduct that follow-up investigation, so I don't know whether it was or wasn't. I'm not aware of any evidence that it was. Or any of them were.
And that includes the switch too, correct?
It does.
Okay. And do you have any evidence, ballistically or otherwise, that any of these guns were used in the January 10, 2015 shooting of Donovan Thomas?
I do not.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, I appreciate that, Detective Belknap. I'm going to move to your work on March 17th. When you arrived on Meadowlark Drive, you saw the white Audi, correct?
Yes, sir.
It was still in the parking lot.
It was in the driveway, yes.
Excuse me, yes, I'm sorry, the driveway. Still had the Maryland tags affixed to it,
It did.
still had the tint.
I don't
They
recall
didn't
noting
change
the tint.
anything.
Okay,
But I don't believe the car had been altered.
okay. You don't believe the car had been altered? What do you mean by that?
I don't believe the car had been moved or processed at that time when I arrived on the scene.
Oh, okay, okay. You mentioned finding a beanie,
Yes, sir.
and
Here's
that
the
is in
beanie.
evidence and was just admitted through you.
Correct.
Okay, so that beanie would be a separate beanie from any beanie that was collected on March 17th at 2830 Waters Road.
I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, it was collected on Meadowlark Lane.
It was collected on
Meadowlark
Meadowlark
Drive.
Lane.
Yes.
Okay, so if there's a separate beanie, if there's a beanie that was collected and put into evidence from from Waters Road, there's two separate beanies, correct?
It would appear so, yes.
And the beanie that you collected on Meadowlark Drive was, well, do you know who was wearing that prior to their arrest?
Yes, sir.
And was it my client, Shannon Stillwell?
It was.
And you collected that beanie because you had viewed the BP video that Detective Hogan had showed you already, correct?
I had.
And you had noted that Mr. Stillwell was wearing a pink beanie in that BP video.
I had observed that, yes.
And that's clear video as far as videos go. It wasn't grainy, it was clear. And you saw Mr. Stillwell wearing a pink beanie.
Yes.
And that's why you collected this pink beanie, because he was, in your mind as a detective, it was important to collect that pink beanie because it matched what's in the BP video.
Well, I agree with that. Just to be clear, it was collected prior to my arrival and was given to me to transport to property.
Okay, and you made sure you put it into property?
I did.
Okay. All right. The bag of drugs, did you recover that backpack?
I did not.
Okay, have you seen the video from the Phoenix helicopter?
I have.
Okay, and you would agree that it was Mr. Nichols that threw that book bag into those bushes,
I
correct?
would. Yes, sir.
All right. And prior to, from that video, you can see Mr. Nichols exiting the White Audi with that book bag.
That's correct.
Okay. In your experience as an officer, you have seen people flee from the police because they have drugs in the car, correct?
I have.
Okay. The FN Hurstel 5.7, serial number 386409184, that I believe is in evidence 221 VV. That was collected by Trooper Campbell and given to you for evidence, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And you would agree that that gun is not a switch. It's not modified, not a switch.
No, it is not.
Okay. And then later, you were called by an Officer Klickner to collect an FNX 45, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And just to be clear, the FN, going back, the FN 57 shoots 5.7 rounds, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And the FNX 45 tactical shoots 45 caliber rounds.
Yes, it does.
And those are the two guns that were located at Meadowlark Drive on March 17, 2022, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you collected those firearms and brought them into property, into evidence to preserve for further investigation, correct?
I did.
Okay. Those two guns, either the 5.7 and the 45, do you have any ballistic evidence linking those guns to the January 10, 2015 shooting of Donovan Thomas?
I didn't conduct any ballistics investigations on the firearms, so I don't have any ballistics evidence related to these.
Do you have any evidence that connects them to the January 10 shooting of Donovan Thomas as we sit here today?
I do not.
Okay. And how about, and let me ask you, okay, and how about this? Those two guns, the 5.7 and the 45, do you have any ballistic evidence that connects those guns to the March 14, 2017 shooting of Shamel Drinks?
I don't have ballistic evidence of any kind related to these weapons.
In fact,
Just get him to say it over and over.
Or the 45 even shoots 40 caliber. They're not capable of shooting 40 caliber rounds, are they?
Neither is chambered to shoot a 40 caliber round.
Okay. You, just a couple more questions. You indicated that Detective Hogan had you look at the video for the Fedex to identify Mr. Stillwell and also Mr. Nichols, correct?
I reviewed the video at some point. I believe that what I initially saw were some of the social media photos of Mr. Nichols. I don't remember what I saw initially.
Did you review the BP video at some point?
At some point, yes.
Okay, this is what I want to know. Did you ever review with
FedEx.
Detective Hogan or by yourself
Here we go.
the FedEx video from March 14th, 2017? Excuse me, March 14th, 2022.
I don't recall if I ever reviewed that video or not.
Okay, so you're not even certain if you've ever seen that video.
I don't know. I'm not certain if I have or not.
Okay. All right, thank you. No further questions.
Redirect. Oh, okay. Come on
I know I'm surprising the court.
All right, let's go. We get a little bit from Doug Weinstein.